ready to connect.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad. That's right, sure I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, in this episode, we get a fantastic one for you. We just had a fight between, for one of those WBA or whatever straps, lightweight straps, between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. Tank Davis, as they kept calling him, they sort of made a couple of adjustments. They adjusted themselves. They stopped calling him the face of boxing. They're calling him the face of American boxing, as well as one of the faces of boxing. But boy, oh boy, certainly didn't seem to live up to the accolades that some people were giving him. Top 10 pound for pound, one of the highest IQs in boxing, downloading the info. Didn't seem like that we saw that today. So what we're going to be doing tonight, is this is a call-in show. So make sure to call in, give us your thoughts on what just transpired. I don't want to talk too much, give my opinion too much. I want to hear from you guys. So phone number's right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. Don't forget to hit that like. We're going to be here for at least an hour throughout the night. It's an overnight show. Hopefully it's interesting. Don't forget you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and Spreaker at your leisure. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Buy Me a Coffee app. Link in the description below, and I'm going to post the link in the chat very, very soon. But be that as it may, it is a call-in show, and I want to hear from you guys. I'm not saying Tank Davis was exposed. I'm asking, was he exposed? Is he an Ameribum? Does Shakur Stevenson beat him? Does he beat him up like he beat up that girl at the car wash? You guys let us know. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 914. 914, you're in the air. 914, what's on your mind?
Hello, BDA.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. 914. Is it line legal?
Yes.
Hey, what's up, line legal?
That is.
What's on your mind, man?
So much like I've said about this, the fact of the matter is that he essentially had a cherry pick gone wrong today. This was absolutely a cherry pick gone wrong because he could have been fighting difficult fights. There were lots of people in his weight class that he should have been fighting, such as Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, all of these guys. Instead, he decided for his last 2, 3, 4 fights to pick other people that were not as big as far as the resume that the other fighters had, did not have the prestige or the respect in boxing. And what happened is that I guess his matchmakers thought Lamont Roach would be an easy person to pick out, an easy person to fight, but he has a lot of experience and apparently is very, very Davis now essentially slipped on or essentially set himself up for failure, basically, and that's exactly what occurred in this instance.
Now, Tank Davis said they made a big deal about it in the build-up to this fight, that afterwards he was going to call somebody out. Maybe I missed it. Did he call somebody out?
I did not hear him call anybody out because at that time he said that he would rematch Lamont Roach, and the audience was also booing the excuse that he gave for why he took the knee. He said that grease got in his eyes because he just got his. In fact, I don't want to even say the explanation that he gave because I think it's utterly shameful that he was able to take a knee. I mean, are you allowed to take timeouts in boxing? Can you take a timeout in boxing?
If you're Tank Davis, you can.
Yeah, exactly. It is, I mean, the sacrosanct nature of the sport, especially because people don't know the psychological damage that it goes through if a fighter loses, if they get knocked out, if they are put in a very compromising position for the world to see. That's why you have to have fairness in the sport, because people who only look at the big stars, they look at the people who are at the top bill in any match. They don't see the contenders. They don't see the challenges. They don't see people that make the event what it is by their participation, which is the other person on the bill. And you have to give them the respect of having a fair playing ground, because if you don't give them that respect, then you completely demean the sport, and it turns into more of a spectacle for entertainment and a grotesque one rather than an actual sport. So by allowing him to take a knee and then go and get his face wiped by his corner, and for the referee to not give a knockdown is utterly shameful. And I'm glad that this happened in New York, where the crowd showed their complete disapproval and heaped opprobrium on Tank Davis, because they showed that, as far as they are concerned, what he did was basically cheating.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to tell you, there's going to be a lot said about not only that, but also the scorecards as well. Lion Legal, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call, and call back next time, Raymond. Take it easy out there.
Thanks.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's the fact that, like Lion Legal said, on the biggest stage, they let Tank Davis get away with that knockdown. And then on top of that, he also shoulder bumped right in the face. He shoulder bumped Roach right on the face. Steve Willis was right there in line of sight, seeing it clearly. Didn't say anything. In fact, he actually warned Roach for punching afterwards. Let's continue on with the phone calls here. But before we do, shout out to Double L for his contribution via the Buy Me a Coffee app. He says, fight went how I told you pre-fight, Mr. BDA. Okay, I don't remember that, but whatever. He says, Tank struggled with the defense of an inexperienced Martin and got beat on the whole fight till Martin gassed. Roach showed great defense in previous fights and had the Tank to go 12, no pun intended. Didn't expect Roach to rock him that much, though. EC8 for Roach. Abdul Wahid's career died via Vince McMahon leaked messages penetration. Okay, that doesn't make any sense at the end. As far as it can go, but even farther. All right, shout out to Double L for his contribution to the Super Chat. Let's continue on here with the phone calls. Again, we're taking phone calls for the rest of the hour. 713, you're on the air. 713, what's on your mind?
So, I just came from the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back at the house, and then I was talking to an American brother, FBA,
Mm-hmm.
and then he asked me who am I going with. I told him Tank, but if Tank finishes the Roach for the 6th round, I'm fine. But if this fight goes to distance, I'm disappointed in Tank. And he was like, okay, I understand what you're saying. Yes, I feel that, like I always say, I even told him that, to me, Tank was supposed to be the next Pacquiao. And I told him about the gloves, too. Lamont Roach is wearing winning gloves, which is, a not so puncher-friendly glove, Calacleto Reyes.
Uh-huh.
That's the number one thing that struck me. 2 is that, of course, I even told him that, because, so some people are delusional that the FTA are like a superior fighter than the Mexican fighters, but you gotta, like, talk them down and show them otherwise. That's where CCD boxing was helpful. But
Absolutely.
I told him that look, take he's been cherry picking. Like, it ain't just not me. You could find this online.
Of course, yeah.
From all kinds of experience. Because to wear the crown that you as an American black athlete, if you rise above the top, it's because you're black, right? If you don't, it's because that's the you're not the best of the best. And that,
Wow.
and I introduce all of us have introduced Tank Davis that he might not be the best of the best. And then
Well,
he didn't even argue with me. Like,
he
sorry,
certainly he certainly didn't prove it today against a guy coming up in weight who'd been
no,
beaten
he
by
didn't.
I mean, Jermell Herring beat Lamont Roach a
Exactly.
couple years ago, and Shakur Stevenson beat the dog crap out of Herring. I mean, again, I'm not I'm not trying to get into boxing math, but there are common opponents, and Tank Davis never even come close to touching one of those opponents, and he just struggled tonight. So, hey, by the way, let me just ask you real quick, man, how was the crowd or how was the ambience at the bar that you saw the fight at?
I went to Twin Peaks and pretty much the Woodlands, if anybody is wondering, and it was pretty neutral. Pretty neutral. So
Interesting.
it's like no one really cared. It was like it's not pro anything. It was so neutral. It was but then again we got the rodeo going on, like the livestock show and rodeo, and man, it was neutral.
Right.
You
Okay.
you
Okay.
you
Oh, I got you. It must have been quite a scene. I mean, that most people really didn't seem to be interested in this fight, but I gotta tell you, the fact that he struggled with Lamont Roach doesn't fare too well for the people that were saying this guy was top 10 pound for pound. Listen, caller, we gotta move on here, but thank you for your call and call back tomorrow if you want to. All right, man. We'll try to be back tomorrow.
I will.
All
I
right. Take
will,
it easy,
man.
man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
And by the way, when I say tomorrow, I mean today because it's already 1 in the morning, so technically it's already Sunday. Real quick, before we continue on with the phone calls here, shout out to Don Possum. Shout out to Don Possum for his contribution via the Buy Me a Coffee app. And he says he wasn't exposed. Exposed is when you have a tough fight and people realize you were overhyped. He lost, plain and simple. You scored a knee and it's an official loss. Oh, so he's okay. Shout out to Don Possum being very adamant and direct about the fact that Tank Davis got a gift decision today. I'm curious, guys. Do you think he got a gift decision? Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 856. 856, you're on the air. 856. What's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, media. This is Trey Asa. What's going on?
Oh, what's up, Trey?
So, I'm telling, man. Listen, I was just watching that crazy fight. Listen, I'm just going to get into the boxing. Like, that was a highway. That was a whole stick up. You hear me? Like, it was a crazy robbery. But from the boxing aspect, like, it's crazy to look how Tank hasn't grown at all. Like, he spams traps. Like, he's a trap setter. Like, he's spamming traps, like, low output. Like, the jab is, like, definitely, like, C minus. And every time he tried to pivot, like, right, like, he would try to turn a corner. Like, a couple times, Roach, he kind of caught on and started countering him. I mean, it was crazy just to see. And the crazy part, like, why would you fight somebody that you fought just about all your life? Like, they know, like, you know what I mean? Like, they know, like, everything about you. That's like a whole lifetime of, like, footage and, just to literally watch. Like, it was just like, it was like a cherry pick going wrong. And like I said, roaches are hard to kill. You know how that is. So, you know what I mean? But like I said, that was just but like literally, like Tank hasn't grown at all. Like, this guy is like, that was just like I honestly see why, like, he's very careful who he fights or whatever. I think Ryan could have beat him if Ryan was like actually hydrated or like at a healthy weight or whatever. But that was just crazy. Like, Tank sucks, man. Tank sucks.
Well, by the way, everyone's making a big deal about the knockdown. Should that have been called a knockdown in the 9th round?
Absolutely. I mean, even without the knockdown, I think Roach got 8 rounds to me. So, like, 8 equal beats out 4. You know what I mean? But for sure that was a knockdown for sure.
And this is interesting. And no call out. And by the way, I'm looking at it here on X. Devin Haney tweeted out. He said, "Hold on a second." He says, "I was waiting for the backflip. No backflip tonight from Gervonta Tank Davis." That's I don't know if that's telling or if that's subtext for something. But man, I gotta tell you, who do you want to see him fight next, or who do you think realistically he fights next?
Roach, I think honestly, I think they should run that back honestly, because anybody else, like, everybody else is kind of tied up. Shakur is really not worth it. He'll beat Shakur. He'll run through what's the guy? What's the guy? Keyshawn, whatever his name is. He'll run through him. I think he should fight Tank again. Honestly, like, he deserved. Like, he was robbed. Like, that kid. The sad part is, like, you're putting your life on the line. You're getting up early. You're running. you're doing, you're torturing your body, you put in a lot of work. And that kid, like, he put on the fight of his life. Like, that's the best work he ever did. Like, I never watched him ever, but I got to, got some, review some highlights or whatever, different things, whatever. And he showed out, and it's kind of crazy how they did it, but.
Yeah. It's not the first time, won't be the last time, unfortunately. All right, well, listen, Trey Ason, we got to move on, but thank you for your call, and call back next time. Take it easy out there.
Yes, sir, indeed. Good night.
Have a good night. Yeah, hey, listen, okay, so we've gotten a couple of phone calls so far. A lot of everyone, I haven't found one caller yet who's agreed with the draw. So I get, well, again, we're taking a lot of phone calls today, so we'll see if we come up with a couple. Don't forget to hit that like, fellas. Hit that like, hit that like, hit that like. It's a call-in show. Phone number's right there in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. I'm going to put it up here in the marquee. There you go. And we move on to the next call. Let's go to 223. 223, you're on the air. 223, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up? 223?
Of course it was the draw. They're friends. Lamont and Tank are buddies. They both from practically the same state, the same hood. So of course he's gonna help his friend out. Think about it. And no one ain't saying nothing when Virgil Ortiz got the helpful courtesy victory over Boacek when he was knocked down twice.
Nobody said anything.
Remember that fight? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to argue with anybody, but look, when you got braids and you got the hair grease in your head.
Come on, man.
I mean, hey, PBC helped Tank out. They gave it a draw. But you got to understand, Roach, he's a 130 champ, a real champ, not no intern like Tank is or whatever. He's a 130 true champ. So they're going to rematch because they're going to run it back because they are best friends. So they trying to get the bag together. I had money on the rematch because I knew they were friends and he was helping his friend out. I know that sounds weird, but, you know.
I'm curious. How did Tank Davis... So you're saying Tank Davis deliberately slowed down the pace and didn't go as hard as he could have to help Lamont Roach out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. If you looked at the fight, how they was like, at the end of the bell, they kind of like touched each other up. That's like a secret code. Like, yeah, man, just keep going at this pace. We'll make it to the 12th and then it'll be a draw and then we can rematch again. Because remember, Tank didn't want to rematch Pitbull. And people think Pitbull beat Tank, but now he wants to rematch Lamont again.
So you're saying you got to look at there was some secret boule handshake or sign language going on that the initiated missed, but that was definitely going on in that fight during the fight.
Yes, if you really look at it and how they was talking to each other, yes,
there you go.
They were, and that's what people don't understand, like how boxing is corrupt. And Tank, you know what I mean, he did take a knee and they didn't count it, but he did take a knee and they should have. But PBC, that's his fighter, they gave Tank the draw. They didn't want Tank to lose. They wanted Tank to say, okay, Tank, we're going to give you the draw, you rematch him again, and we're going to get more money from these suckers from New York.
I got to tell you.
And what did the crowd do? You know, do a rematch.
Yeah, shady stuff, let me tell you. Shady stuff. Real quick, before we move on, caller, who do you want to see Tank Davis fight next, realistically? If it's not a Roach rematch, who would you like to see him fight?
I mean, I'd like to see him fight Tio or Gary Russell.
Oh.
Or he could fight Ryan again.
Uh-huh. All right, so he's got options.
Gary Russell, no one think Gary Russell would beat El Rayo, but, you know, Gary Russell, that's another DC fight or whatever, DC Maryland fight.
A big, quick guy who has a good chin. Yeah, why not, man? I'd like to see that against Tank Davis. All right, well, listen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, well, listen, caller, we got to move on here, but thank you for your call and call back next time. Take it easy out there.
All right, Bud over Canelo.
There we go. All right, have a good night, man. All right, fellas, don't forget to hit that like. We're here for at least another 43 minutes, so we're just taking phone calls overnight show. Anything can happen. Don't forget to hit that like, and let's go on over to another phone call here. Let's go to 952. 952, you're on the air. 952, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, 952?
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was a draw. I thought it was the right call. I'm watching the fight, right? It seems like neither fighter really could take control of the fight. It seemed like it was a little back and forth. Lamont Roach was counterpunching really good. Tank was hitting him with more power shots. So it seemed like it was back and forth all the way to like the 12th round. Nobody really took control of the fight. Tank caught him with some big shots, but it wasn't able to get the knockdown. Lamont Roach caught him with some big shots. It was kind of like back and forth. I look at the the box numbers, and it's like they were kind of even, like slightly a tad bit more for Roach, but other than that, they were kind of even. That knee part was weird. I think the reason why the ref didn't call it a knockdown is because he hit him, but he didn't take the knee right away. It's like a couple of seconds went by, he turns around, then took the knee. So I think the ref was like, well, he didn't punch him to cause him to take a knee, so I'm not going to say it's a knockdown. I think that's why he didn't say that or didn't do that. But I think it was a draw. But this is how you know people that be on the internet talking about boxing, they don't really know what they be talking about. They just be yapping. Because they were saying Lamont Roach is a bum and he can't do this. He's no match for Tank. Like, how the fuck you on the internet calling a pro boxer a bum? That right there is violation. And then two, you don't really know until they get in the ring. So they get in the ring, and it turns out he was very competitive. You know, this fight kind of reminded me of the Pitbull Cruz fight, but I thought Roach is better than Pitbull Cruz, fights better than Pitbull Cruz, perform better than Pitbull Cruz, but it kind of reminded me of that. But because it was like real competitive, because that's the last fight Tank was in that was like really competitive. And it's like, yeah, it was a draw. It was the right call. They should go ahead and just run it back. Yeah, people that think Roach won, they just want to see Tank lose. So of course they want to say that. But it was the right call. I don't think it was a robbery. So people can shut that bitch ass shit up saying that it wasn't a robbery. That was a draw.
So you're saying that calling Roach a bum is desecration and conflagration. Now, let me ask you, do you think after tonight's fight, do you think Tank Davis can beat Shakur Stevenson?
It's 50-50. To just sit here and say this person's going to beat that person, you on paper it might look like that, but you really don't know until they get in the ring. And then also, a lot of people be acting slow. This is boxing. You're not going to knock everybody out. I don't know why people have a hard time understanding that. This is why if you are a boxer, it's important to learn how to box at the highest level. You're not going to knock every single fighter out. All these people on the internet are acting like Tank's supposed to knock everybody out. Nobody knocks everybody out. It doesn't work like that. Not even your dear beloved Canelo knocks everybody out. So I don't understand why people think that. It was a good competitive fight. It went down to the wire. It looked like they got the score correct. They need to just run that shit back in like 3 to 4 months. Summertime, what is it, March? Do a summertime fight. Settle that shit for sure. Just like Andre Ward and Kovalev did back in the day. They had their rematch. There was some controversy. Let's run it back. Fuck the first fight. That's what they need to do. But everybody on the internet that so-called know boxing, they're just blah blah right now because they want to see Tank.
You know, there was a lot of people.
Bullshit.
There was a lot of people that's supposed to know about boxing. They were saying Tank Davis is a top 10 pound for pound guy. You know, he doesn't punch a lot because he can just end the fight with a knockout. That's what I kept hearing. I kept hearing that he can knock everybody out. He knocks Shakur Stevenson out. He knocks Lomachenko out. So it goes both ways. And at least with Canelo, at least he comes forward and makes the fight. Whereas Tank Davis just, leans back and waits to land one shot. And as we saw, that shit's not, like you said, that's not always going to work. So he better find a second gear in the next couple of years. Otherwise, he's in trouble. All right, well, listen, caller, we got to move on here, but what's that?
No, what you said is true, because remember, they I don't know if you remember, but they were saying the same thing when Canelo fought Bivol. They were saying he was going to knock Bivol out. And then look what happened.
Exactly.
Because you've seen him knock out a lot of guys, assuming he's going to knock everybody out. But again, you're not going to knock everybody out. This is why you got to learn how to box at the highest level if you want to win. Or just lose on the scorecard to get draws, if y'all want to do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, he needs to find a second gear, otherwise he's in trouble. All right, well, listen, caller, thank you for your call, and call back next time.
All right.
Take it easy out there. All right, we're seeing a lot of different opinions. Finally found somebody who agreed with the decision. Seems to be in the minority. Let's go to another phone. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. We just got a not a super chat, a buy me a coffee. Let's go to that message before we continue with the phone calls. Don't forget to hit that like, fellas. Hit that like, hit that like, hit that like. Right now we're at, how many likes we're at? We're at 57 likes. Hey, that's unacceptable, man. There's 277 people watching and only 57 likes. If 23 more people hit that like and let's get it to 80 likes, we're going to continue on with the phone calls. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm going to do something crazy. It's 1:23 in the morning. I'm liable to do something crazy. I've been drinking. What do you want from me? Shout out to Double L for his contribution via the Buy Me a Coffee app. He says, Gervonta is still undefeated while you haters in your mom's basement, while ICE is knocking at the door. Knocking at the door. Rayo lost his championship, Mexican card and green card in one. Oh, he lost his Mexican card and his green card. By the way, I think he made a mistake. I don't think he was wearing the Mexican colors. I think he was wearing the Italian colors. I think he was trying to tell us something. I don't think he's a Mexican. I think he's Italian. He belongs with the Italians. LL says, Tank makes millions fighting the best in his division, while Inoue and Bivol fight nobodies no one ever heard of for peanuts. While Inoue made the list of the top 10 top earners in all sports, Tank Davis didn't, so I don't know where he's coming from with that. But shout out to Double L for his contribution with the super chat. Buy me a coffee, really appreciate it. All right, let's go on with another phone call here. We're going to move quick here. Let's go to 619. 619, you're on the air. 619, what's on your mind? 619, can you hear me? You on the air? 619, going once, going twice. Hopefully we didn't have him on hold too long and he left. 619, going once, going twice. All right, I'm going to put you back on the queue. We got that new ability now. Let's go on a phone call. Let's go to 830. 830, you on the air. 830, what's on your mind?
What a masterclass from Roach. It was a masterclass. You know, I had Roach from the beginning, all week. That Alvarado fight, he fought Rene Alvarado, and Rene Alvarado's a really aggressive fighter, but one thing he dictated was he stepped back and let the aggressor come at them and counter. And that's one thing he did against Roach. One thing he did against Tank.
Absolutely, yeah, man. He didn't fall into the game that a lot of these guys fall into against Tank Davis.
Think of it. Frank Martin and Rolly Romero were novice boxers, pro boxers. They were novice pro boxers with a very low IQ. And they won rounds versus him. And this guy set him up. He got set up so bad by picking what's his name? Roach. His own guy he set himself up for failure. He set himself up for failure. Tank set himself up for failure.
You know, Coca-Cola, real quick, man, you make a great point because some people could say, oh, but we told you Roach was good. First of all, I only saw a handful of people on our Discord who were giving Roach a chance, and only one or maybe two. One of them is the Canman. Shout out to the Canman who picked Roach to win.
I'm the Canman.
Shout out to you, the Canman. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, you called it, man. And you did it with confidence because most of us were saying, well, we give Roach a chance, but we didn't pick him. We didn't pull the trigger. You pulled the trigger. And let me tell you something. There was like you said, there was a precedent because it's not like this came out of nowhere. We've seen Tank Davis struggle against Isaac Cruz, Barrios, Ryan Garcia, the latter two of which were compromised because of the rehydration clauses. He struggled to get Gamboa. I mean, you know the drill.
He fought two novice. Frank Martin was winning rounds versus him.
Yeah. And so was Rolly. So this is what happens when a guy stays on one side of the reserve or the reservation, the plantation, whatever you want to call it, and he's not getting better. And he was only fighting once per year.
If you don't test yourself, and you got to take some losses, that's what boxing is. You got to take some losses, and sometimes you got to get back from those losses, you know? And some of these guys, they just don't want to lose. They want every fight given to them.
Yeah.
Every fight given to them. You got to take risk.
Absolutely.
And one thing Roach did, he took all the risk to win that fight. And they robbed them. 2 robberies in that card. 2 robberies in that card. That's bullshit.
That's not BS. That's the PBC way. You gotta distinguish between the two. Who would you like, Kenman? Who would you like to see Tank Davis fight next? Realistically speaking,
if I was Tank, I would retire. If he was gonna he should actually retire. Retire.
All right.
It's gonna get bad. It's gonna get bad from here. You can't go. The film is out there. Once the film's out there, anybody can study it. And they'll break your ass down.
That's right.
All these great trainers just saw.
We got the documents.
The documents are there.
The dossier.
This ain't
dossier.
No Epstein Island bullshit. The documents are there, and there's a game plan out there now that if you let the aggressor, and he gets too overconfident in his head, he ain't willing. He was running.
He was
running. He was getting hit.
We didn't see anything last. We didn't see anything last night that we hadn't seen before. Like the Can Man is saying, we got the documents, we got the dossier. The plan is out there. It's gonna get ugly for Tank real quick if he steps up in class.
Tank, in a majority of the weigh-ins, he's usually very angry, talking shit. This was the only fight where he shook hands with the guy. He shook hands with him in the weigh-ins.
Mm-hmm.
He had so much respect for him. He knew that this guy can crack my ass, dude.
He was cracking that ass. You're right, man.
Knew.
All right, well, listen.
Yes, sir, he was.
Can Man, I got to give it up to you, man. You're one of the few people that actually pulled the trigger on the prediction, and thank you for your call,
everybody,
man.
let's take a knee for Tank Davis.
Let's take a knee. All right, take it easy out there, Can Man. Thank you for your call, man. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too, man. The Can Man made it happen. The Can Man can. Let's go to our phone call, fellas. Actually, let me go to the likes. Hey, listen, I said 80 likes. We're 2 likes shy from 80. If I don't see 2 more likes right now, it takes 1 second to do it, man. I think I'm shutting off everything here tonight. I want to go to sleep too. What do you guys think? This is a joke? All right, I see 1 like up. We're shy 1 like from 80, guys. Come on now. Don't make me pull out the textbooks here and start reading about continental philosophy. Come on. Oh, there you go. 88 likes. All right. So we jumped more than I asked for, but shout out to you, fellas. Let's keep going here. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 301. 301, you're on the air. 301, what's on your mind?
Let's get another phone call.
Hello? Can you hear me?
301, hold on a second. Before we continue, you got to mute whatever's in the background, please. Mute your speakers because I can hear myself there.
Okay.
Por favor. Por favor.
No problem. Yeah, let me look like this.
Mm-hmm,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, man. What's up?
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna tell you straight up. This is how I feel about it. When Tank got rid of Calvin, he started going down. Okay, you know, Calvin took Tank from knee high to a grasshopper. He had him in the corner when he felt like Tank was losing. He'll tell him, "Go, Tank, get in your bag. Let's pull this one out. Do this, that, and the third." And Tank would come out and do what he's supposed to do. Tank didn't have that going on this time. It was too easy for him. He just didn't fight the way he generally fight. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact that Roach was going to win this fight, which he did. But they gave it to him. You know, I'm not going with, you know, anybody can knock anybody out. A win is a win, and a loss is a loss. Tank lost that one. And I was a fan of Tank.
Yeah,
I was a true fan of Tank.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about the inconsistency in his corner. In fact, caller, Tank Davis was getting into it with his corner people in between rounds. A lot of instability there.
Yeah. And like they say, I'm going to say this. When you get hit, it could be a delay and you take a knee. I was listening to another caller say he didn't go right down. You don't have to go right down. You could get hit and then all of a sudden you feel the pain or whatever the case may be. Then you go down. Plenty of fights happen like that. We're not going with the grease in your eye and the grease in your hair or whatever the case may be. You got hit with a jab and you were down to the knee.
That's a good point. That's a very salient point right there.
That was a loss. And last but not least, he got rid of his coach. He didn't really get rid of him, but he put him on the back burner as a second-class passenger. You don't do Calvin like that. I'm sorry.
That's a great point.
The other coach cannot coach like that. Huh?
You know, you got a good point, especially since Tank Davis seems somewhat unstable when things don't go his way. He would have needed a little bit. Who knows how he might have gone if he had a stable corner tonight. Well, listen, we got to move on here, caller, but anything else you want to say before we do so?
Well, I don't even want a rematch.
Oh. Well, there you go, man.
Huh?
No, I said, wow, I'm surprised. There you go. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what they do.
And this right here, let me say this. Anybody and everybody would say Tank needs to retire now because some other guys that want to fight him gonna crush him.
Whoa. All right, bold prediction right there from the caller. Let me tell you something. Very good call. Thank you for it. And call back next time, right? Salient points right there.
Okay, cool.
All right, take it easy, man. Have a good night. Yeah, good play. Listen, he's calling it right there. The caller said Tank's in trouble if he fights the way he did tonight. Let's go to our phone call, fellas. We're taking calls here throughout the night. Make sure to call in. Phone number's right there in the left-hand middle portion of your screen. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 619. 619, you're on the air. 619, what's your mind?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, 619. What's up?
Oh yeah, what's up, guys? It's Jose. I just give you my opinion about the fight. I think that fight against Roach was a much harder fight than it was on paper because he already knew him. They had already fought in the amateurs, so I think Roach had that factor that he wasn't afraid of Davis because he already been in there with him, so he doesn't have that, like everybody's scared of Tank, like they're all like apprehensive to get hit. So I think that has something to do with it. And also Lamont Roach is a champion himself. He's coming off of he has a good momentum right now. But also I noticed that I forgot what I was going to say, but I think it's his homie too, or they were saying that he's from Baltimore as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why he wanted to give him a payday. So, but yeah, I think it was a pretty good fight. But overall it was a pretty good fight. And yeah, I did think he won, Lamont Roach.
Oh, there you go. All right, Jose calling it. I'm going to start writing those down, man. I want to see. I want to do like a mini poll here just to see who had whom winning. Anything else you want to say, Jose, before we move on?
Oh no, I was just what was going on Tank Davis was trying to do a little too much showboating in the beginning, like in between rounds. He was like, I don't know, man. He did think he was gonna win, but I don't know. It just seems like there was a riskier fight than it was closer, than what it was on paper.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not the first time we've seen Tank struggle. All right, listen, Jose, we gotta move on here, but thank you for your call and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right.
All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to, hold on, before we continue, shout out to Chris K, aka Undercover Asian, for his contribution by the Buy Me a Coffee app. He says, anyone else think Davis doesn't like any hit? He was diving in a lot for clinches when in close, hopped around the ring a few times, and looked flustered when getting tagged. Chris K, you're preaching to the choir, man, absolutely. Ryan Garcia, who was dehydrated, shook him up. So did Rolly Romero. That should have been called a knockdown, but like you said, in that fight too, he dove in for a double leg takedown, a la NCAA wrestling. Barrios shook him. It's not he doesn't like, and he's arguing with the referee nonstop, trying to stall and create time. I'm telling you, being on that side of the plantation, not fighting anybody of note, has made him soft. We talked about that weeks ago. Chris K also says, based on this fight, I could see old man Loma having a good chance at beating Davis. Roach did well when throwing combos in close and using unusual angles. You know what? Forget Lomachenko, man. That guy, I don't think his heart is in it anymore. Let's see him against Roach again. Or let's see him in there against Shakur Stevenson. Some of these young guys. Let's see if he's actually up to it, because we heard so much about him being top 10 pound for pound. He's downloading data. He's waiting for that one-punch knockout. Like that other caller said, it's about gears too. And we were asking for a long time, does he have a second gear? He didn't show it against Isaac Cruz. Oh, he hurt his hand. What's the excuse this time? Did he hurt his taint now? Did he dislocate his taint? I don't know. I want to hear from people. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 347. 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? It's NPR. How you doing?
Oh, NPR, man. What's up?
What's going on, man? You guys have been getting some great callers in here. These last 5 callers, I don't know if I'm going to add too much to what they already had to say, because I was like, I was going to say something like that, and the next guy comes on, and I was going to say something like that. But what I would say is that if you don't fall for Tank's traps, you're going to do pretty well against him. If you notice that the fighters that get too aggressive against Tank and stay in the pocket too long or throw too many combinations. So Leo Santa Cruz is a great example. So everybody was looking at it and going, wow, Leo's doing great. Mm-hmm. And they look at Rolly Romero and say, oh, Rolly Romero is looking great. And all he's doing is taking a look at what you got, and then he steps in and knocks your ass out with an uppercut, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, but if you don't do that against Tank, you can have some success and don't fall for the traps. He's a trap artist. He's very good at being a trap artist. Now, one of the things that he does exceptionally well is he covers ground. He's a very little guy, so he covers ground exceptionally fast. I've always thought that when he does throw his leaping hook, he has the best leaping hook since Hagler. Hagler used to throw a leaping hook, and it was pretty devastating, right? It was a surprise punch. But there's something interesting about Tank is that he has it's almost like he's got a plan to set these traps, and he's waiting to do this. And if you don't do that, if you don't fall into it, he doesn't have a second gear. And if you notice that towards the end of that fight, he was finally coming forward because he knew he had to do something. And he was talking to Lamont Roach, and Lamont Roach was like, "Nah, not interested." You know what I'm saying? Not interested. I'm not for. Do you remember that? Do you remember that at the end of the fight? Towards the end of the fight?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was coming forward, and he was realizing nothing I've done this whole fight has taken him out. And one of the things, if you're a feast of famine, there was a baseball player years ago called Dave Kingman, and he was a home run hitter. But if he wasn't hitting home runs, he wasn't hitting anything else, right? In other words, he wasn't doing anything. And he was either starving or he was, the hero of the day. But most of the time, he was starving. So if you're going to throw 30 punches around, 28 punches around, and they're not going to be like, he's not a jabber. He's not working his way in successfully is with a jab. He's looking to set him up and hopefully you step into it. Well, Lamont Roach, what did he do? He just turned at a slight angle, turned at another slight angle all night long. And you could see that Tank's ability was very hard to track him, where he could hit him with devastating shots. So I don't really have much to say, except one more thing, is that it's very indicative when you're fighting with your corner, what's going on in the match, right? So we have him struggling with his corner, but it's also indicative that you've got a fighter that left a reservation.
Right.
You got a fighter that goes on his own, who doesn't freaking listen to his corner. Now, if he's not listening to his corner, maybe he never really listened to his corner. Maybe his corner never put him through the paces of like, no, you do what we say. You know what I'm saying? There's like, Eddie Futch would make you do what he says. Emmanuel Stewart would make you do what he says. Freddie Roach would make you do what he says. Right? And he's a teacher. They're teachers. Or if you're a good coach, you're supposed to love your guy, and the student is supposed to respect the teacher.
That's
so
right.
You see a guy like Tank Davis who doesn't respect anybody. He doesn't have that kind of thing where you respect the guy because he's teaching you, not because he can kick your ass. You respect him because he's teaching you and he's smarter than you. That's what a coach is.
That discipline.
And if that relationship isn't there, then you're never going to learn as a fighter, and that's the problem with Tank. He never learned as a fighter. There's been no growth in Tank. It's not that he doesn't have talent. There's been no growth. It's the same thing every single time. And Lamont Roach knew him. He's buddies with him, right?
That's right.
Tank. He knew everything about Tank, right? That's why there's no drama before the fight, because they're buddies. So anyway, that's it. Deus vote. God bless. I'll see you guys later.
All right, take it easy, NPR. Thank you for your call, man. Great points as always there from NPR. And yeah, there wasn't that rapport with the trainer, that discipline, that tradition. Very hostile going on again because he wasn't with his usual trainer. And it's interesting because there's a little something called in German. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's Wanderjahre. I think that's how you pronounce it. In other words, it means the journeyman years. That was a year in which an apprentice would travel to improve his skills, a period of building up those skills. Well, Tank Davis built it and built it and built it and built it, but never actually built up to another level. And he took on a guy like Isaac Cruz who wasn't going anywhere. And where was the second gear? Where were the combinations? Where was the body punching? It was one punch at a time from Tank Davis. This isn't new. This wasn't revelatory. This wasn't an apocalypse or revelation. This was what you've seen before from Tank Davis, except the knockout punch never came this time. Very Deontay Wilderish, just like a lot of us were saying for a long time. Let's go on a phone call here. Let's go to 619. 619, you're on the air. 619, what's in your mind?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, 619, you're on the air. What's up?
Yeah, this is Gonzalo. I don't know what happened in this call.
Oh, Gonzalo, what's up?
Yeah. A few calls ago, a guy said, which I respectfully disagree, that I don't know if he was referring to like Tank Davis, that you're not going to get the knockout all the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you've been knocking everybody out and you didn't get it this time that you win the fight, or that it was a draw, because most people thought. Well, from what I'm hearing, I thought Lamont Roach clearly won. So it's a robbery. Two judges had it for Tank Davis, had it a draw, and one judge had it for Tank Davis. I thought the Hassan Shiraz fight, is that how you say his name? You know who I'm referring to, the guy that fought Bronco Adames. I thought that was a closer fight than this one. But that's also like a negative on Turkey Al-Ashi, because you know how he kind of got involved and went over to the corner and told him, "Hey, you're down, right?"
Right.
So in a way, that's kind of cheating too. But what I'm thinking, like with these big fight cards and like the superstar, or the guy they want to win, like Hassan Shiraz, and in this case Tank Davis, because if they would have counted the knockdown, well, maybe I think it's still a draw, but maybe Lamont Roach wins because two judges had it a draw. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, but my point is this. Sometimes I think that these judges don't fill out their scorecards in these events, like these major fights, until the very end. They leave them blank, like who's checking on them, because you can't really go up to them and take a sneak peek, right? So if they're leaving their cards open and kind of like fill them out until the fight is over, to kind of do this stuff where two judges had a draw.
Gonzalo, that's a great point, man. We don't know because we don't see him. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people around nowadays with cell phones, so I would think that at some point somebody would catch that. One thing I wanted to ask you real quick about the Lamont Roach Tank Davis fight is, for a long time we got a lot of flack for picking Ryan Garcia to beat Tank Davis, and I think we've explained it ad nauseum that we didn't pick him to school Tank Davis or to wash him 10 rounds to 2, but people are starting to see now, hopefully, that why we made such a pick, because there's a path to victory against Tank Davis. You just have to avoid getting knocked out, and he's not going to outwork you. He's not going to outbox you. Well, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, of course. And now that he's getting older, it's kind of like when Mike Tyson was younger. That kind of build is better for like when you're utilizing your speed and he's getting older, so he's less effective now. And you could tell his heart's not into it. He seems like a lazy fighter to me, and he's always like eating snacks in between fights, blowing up the weight. And also, he's lazy, he doesn't watch his diet well. He's getting older, like his heart's not in it, and it almost seems like he doesn't care if people criticize him or not. Yeah, he said, "Oh, you guys are bullying me, but you're here with me today. You're not here with me today, but then you'll end up loving me like later." In other words, like he even with the pit bull fight, he basically shook his head, kind of disrespecting the fact that like, okay, I'm not himself and the fans by saying, "No, I don't want to give this guy a rematch," when a lot of people thought it was close. You know, that pit bull deserved a rematch. So he's like, he's not one of those guys that will be like, "Oh man, I'm pissed at my performance. You know, I'll give him the rematch." He's like, okay, if he wants it, like he said that about Roach, it's okay. But if he does it, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if he got that from Floyd Mayweather or where he gets that attitude. He doesn't care. So that's four things. Lazy, gets fat in between his fights. He's getting older. Well, nobody can. That's just life. And at the same time, he's kind of like has that I don't give a shit attitude. Right?
Yeah, that's a great point there, Gonzalo. I mean, it's very blasé.
Yeah.
Very blasé.
Oh yeah, and plus, BDA, what you said too. There's a path to victory because obviously he doesn't throw a lot of punches, so he can stand in the pocket with them and shoot back. You know, you could beat him. That's all right with that.
All right, Gonzalo. Listen, we're gonna try to do another show today in a couple of hours. Remember we're 3 hours ahead of you, so hopefully you can make it, and we can hear more from you about this fight. For the moment, thank you for your call, man, and call back next time, all right, man?
Okay.
All right, take it easy, man. All right, let's go to our phone call here, fellas. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that like, hit that like. It really helps us out, and it only takes 1 second to do. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 669. 669, you're on the air. 669, what's on your mind?
Yo, Mr. BDA.
Yeah, I can barely hear you, caller.
Yo, Mr. BDA.
Are you on the Bluetooth, caller?
How about now?
A little bit better now. Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Just want to say two things. Okay?
Sure.
This exposes how bad of a fighter Tank Davis is. How mediocre of a fighter he is.
Oh.
And there's a reason why the PBC has not made the big fights. They know what they got. They know they don't got a good boxer. They don't got a good champion. He's not a champion. This guy's so mediocre. I don't know why people like him so much. Is it because of his attitude? Is it because he's black, maybe? What is it?
I've often asked that myself, caller. I've actually wanted to get people to call in for a long time and tell us, why do you enjoy this guy why do you root for a guy who runs over pregnant women and then flees the scene when she's bleeding, calling for help, and he looks at her in the eye and just flees the scene? I mean, what is it about him? I never really got a straight answer.
Man, if it's black people sticking to the code, that's messed up, man.
I mean, it is
something wrong with your culture.
I don't know about that, but
let's not get racial here. But
yeah, let's not do that.
This also shows how bad PBC is doing. That they have to try to keep this guy's career afloat because they don't got anybody else.
Well, that's the thing, though. Yeah, the PBC are in dire straits because that's the only guy they have, and it's just like you said. They gave him a lot of chances today.
How many more gift decisions is this guy going to get?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
anybody with two pairs of eyes could have seen this is not. Roach won that fight.
Well, I mean, listen.
The numbers say it. Everything says it.
Yeah, but anybody out there? Does anyone have the punch stat numbers? And if so, can you send them to me via the Discord? Because I want to put them on the screen, see how many he threw.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter. Nobody defending Davis said he won. Everybody said it. Some people were coping and saying maybe it could be a draw, but nobody said he won. Not a single person I've seen. Someone.
Interesting.
Said this guy won.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this guy is supposed to be the face of American boxing, and he couldn't. He couldn't pull it off.
This is the face of boxing.
That's what they were calling him.
You know what shows me this guy doesn't sell? This guy's not important. That Turkey hasn't tried to make a fight with this guy.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not worth it for him. That's a good point.
Turkey has the best fighters. Yeah, Turkey has the best fighters. He's got Canelo. He's got Bivol. But he's got the important fighters. Mm-hmm. The heavyweights, he's got him.
Excellent point.
You're
right.
Shit about this guy.
no push for Tank Davis. It's almost like he knows he's probably going to lose. The Sheik doesn't really seem to care about losing money, but it seems like he does with Tank Davis. Even he, with his deep pocket, is sort of reassessing, do I really want to spend money on this dude? That's a great point there, caller. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, thank you so much for the show. I love your stuff, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your call, and call back next time, man. Take it easy out there.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, Tank Davis, really not making it out there, man. I gotta tell you, it's that type. I don't know. It's American boxing. They always protect their ticket sellers. Everybody does, but that's how much longer is he gonna keep on being protected? That's a big question. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 817. 817. You're on the air. 817. What's on your mind?
Yo, what's up, BDA?
What's up, 817?
Yo, it's Cesar, man. I got lucky. I got real lucky here. I didn't watch most of the fights, and I didn't watch this whole fight at all. I was working on some shit, and I watched the Martin fight, and I thought Martin won that, and saw he lost, and I was about to get upset, but then I remembered, I'm watching PBC. This is WWE wrestling. It's not real. Didn't watch any of the other fights. Once I saw that fucking Harvey Dock was the ref for was it the Rio fight, I stopped watching. I turned it off. I was like, I already know how this is gonna go. Mm-hmm. But the Tank fight, I watched a little bit of it, and the same shit happened. As soon as I saw Tank take that knee and throw that shoulder, I knew it was a wrap. I was like, oh, okay, the fix is in. This shit's not real. This is like a couple of other callers said. This was a cherry pick gone wrong. I think maybe Tank thought because this dude was like his homie at some point that the dude would go easy on him and Tank could just bash him up. But obviously that's not what happened. I from what I was seeing, it looked like Roach was whooping his ass. And I think it's really telling that Roach is not a puncher. He's a dude coming up from a smaller weight class, and he was hurting Tank. He was catching Tank with counters and hurting him. Now I've been saying for a while that Tank's chin's not that good. And it looks like it's getting worse. And he already talks punchy, so he's already probably punch drunk. But the whole thing with Tank Davis, man, I say this shit all the time. It's Metal Gear Solid 2. It's the S3 plan, right? You know when fucking Ocelot says that, given the right story, the right circumstance, anybody can be shaped into Snake. That's what it is. They framed this dude to make him look better than he is. I'm sure y'all remember, like they always talk about how good his power is in his uppercuts, man. Where was that power when he was fighting a one-legged Gamboa? An old, chinny, one-legged Gamboa, bro. That power wasn't there.
That's right. His
power, he can only knock out dudes who are suspect. He's got to drain them or bring them up. And then he knocks them out whenever the opportunity arises, man. It's pretty, it's bullshit. And I think that what's interesting about this fight, right, because Tank only has two types of fans. LDBC black supremacists, right? There's not a whole lot of those. And casuals, right? And the beautiful thing about casuals is they don't care about fucking politics. They don't care about anything else. They just watch the sport and they want to see knockouts and have some fun, right? Mm-hmm. You can't, but if you're taking knees in fights and you're shouldering people and not getting shit called on you, the casual's going to see that and be like, oh, this is bullshit. You can't fake that. Everybody knows you can't take a knee. You can't freaking make timeouts like you're freaking Charlie Zelenov or whatever that dude's name is. Mm-hmm. They're going to see that and they're going to know this dude's a fraud. So he's going to lose already the small fan base he's got. And like the other caller had said, this is why nobody watches. The reason Turkey's not working with Tank is because Turkey is trying to. This whole thing about the Saudis is to make their image look good, like at a national level. They want people to come to the country. They want people to put on events there that are like global like stars. Like people know these people want to see good events. Turkey's not stupid. He knows that this guy doesn't have any real fans, or at least paying fans. Mm-hmm. Nobody's gonna watch this dude. That's why Turkey's not working with this guy. Yeah, it's just horrible, man. PBC is just, it's so shit, dude. It's insane that the level of corruption that goes on for this. Nobody watches it. Obviously, they keep hopping around. You're gonna have these, the LDBC types calling in saying it's the best thing ever. But I mean, think of what was this? $80? This shit was $80, and then last week or whatever, we just watched an incredible card for 20 USD. An incredible card.
It's a bad look.
They can't compete with this guy, man.
It's a bad look, let me tell you. And yeah,
That's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Here in Canada, the dollar compared to the U.S. one is weaker, so it came out about $100+ on top of the service fees. So yeah,
and that's the fact that they would even charge that because I'm sure I'm sure y'all didn't care about this card. There's no Canadians on it. Y'all got nothing writing on this. The fact that they would even charge y'all that much for this kind of fight is ridiculous.
Well, it is.
It's probably not going to sell well because nobody I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I had to watch it. I mean, for the show. But yeah, you're right, man. It's not gonna do well in the United States. It did well at the gate, but that's about it. And Tank Davis cannot keep doing this, fighting subpar opposition. And then on top of that, he's struggling with the subpar opposition. I mean, it's just a bad look overall. And it's I'm unsurprised.
I mean, his resume is getting worse and worse, right? Because a lot of people thought that he lost to Cruz, and Cruz keeps getting exposed. Cruz beat the shit out of Tank, and then he's gone to do nothing. He keeps getting worked. He's a very basic fighter, Cruz is. Throws the same shots over and over again. Tank couldn't figure that shit out, but everybody else did. Rayo just got 120 by some dude, and Rayo whooped the shit out of this guy. Cruz,
exactly.
So it's like this guy, it's a grift. He's got a grift going on, and I don't know how long he can keep doing it. And like I said earlier, I think the casual people who did probably catch this are going to see that this dude was over here freaking getting his face wiped, taking knees, throwing fouls. They're not going to want to watch this guy again. They're like, oh man, this dude, he's not it anymore.
Yeah, arguing with the referee. The people were booing on top of that, and he's
that's ridiculous. And it's freaking. Usually Steve Willis is good, man, but it's like I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, man, it feels like these guys are getting unmarked envelopes full of cash or something. Like I know Steve Willis he's got crooked eyes, man, but it's like everybody with eyes can see that Tank. That should have been that. I've never seen anything like that in my life. They even pulled that. Like Floyd took a knee, and they counted it a knockdown, right? But they don't count a knockdown for this dude.
Right.
He got hit. He didn't like it. He looked at the ref, and then he took the knee, man. That's a knockdown. That's a fucking knockdown.
I gotta tell you, man, it was a shit show city all around, man. All right, well, listen, Shazar, we got to move on here, but excellent points, and call back next time, man. Take it easy out there.
For sure. Thanks for the show, BD. Keep it up, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, by the way, some people in the chat, real quick, before we continue with the phone calls, we're still here taking phone calls, even though it's 2 a.m, but a lot of people have a lot to say. King Nemesis says, Tank is a no-show. Are you referring to the press conference? That's interesting. That's interesting because I'm cruising Twitter while I'm taking calls here, and I haven't seen any statement, so maybe that's what he's referring to. Barry Nivola, shout out to Barry Nivola, says Bam fought 2 older Hall of Famers, wins in quick, devastating fashion. Exactly, that's how you do it. You don't see. That's the way Bam is the new generation of fighter. He doesn't step back and wait, one punch at a time. He actually goes for it. Somebody else said something about. Oh yeah, the Canman says Eli Segbach is saying Tank Davis won. Well, there you go. I mean, what do you expect from him? Let's go to a phone call here, fellas. Let's go to 410. 410. You're on the air. 410. What's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? Jerry from Baltimore.
Oh, Jerry, what's up, man?
Hey, I don't know what that last caller was talking about, man. He was throwing around the word casual. Then he says, Pitbull Cruz beat the shit out of Tank Davis. Well, Pitbull, everybody else is fair. Last I checked, Pitbull's got 1 loss. So I don't know what the guy was talking about as if Pitbull is some bum. That guy's a hell of a fighter. Does he have a pressure style? Yeah, he's not a skilled fighter necessarily, but you still got to deal with him. He's a strong dude with a good chin, good punch, high work rate. He's a very good fighter. I want to correct you on one thing. I'm not taking up for Tank Davis, but Tank Davis didn't run over a pregnant woman. He hit a car that had a pregnant woman in the car. And then he drove off, which he should have gotten a lot of trouble for. The little bit of time he did was a slap on the wrist. That's a big problem here in Baltimore City anyway. They let people get away with murder down there. But I don't get too personal with the fighters because Arturo Gatti, he used to beat the crap out of his little Brazilian wife, and this was well known back then. And Chavez beat up one of his gardeners real bad. these guys do. These guys a lot of times do shit that you wouldn't think, and it's not just this one or that. It's a lot. Over the years, I've heard a lot and read in the papers and stuff, about instances and occurrences. Moving on to this fight here, Tank lost his fight. But anyone who's watched boxing more than a couple years should know that boxing's corrupt, man. Nothing's changed. If Tank Davis goes the distance in a fight and there's no knockdowns and he doesn't get pummeled, very unlikely he's going to lose. So I wasn't surprised at all. In fact, I was a little surprised they called it a draw and just didn't give him the victory, like they gave Andre Ward the victory against Kovalev, which was a flat robbery. This fight, Tank lost. Well, what can you say? Anyone who thinks he doesn't have power is mistaken. The guy's got power. He's proven that. Can you criticize his resume due to the fact that he's the top player in the division? Yeah, you can, and I have. And I didn't buy this fight tonight simply because of that reason.
All right. Well, there you go. Jerry didn't buy the pay-per-view.
Hold on a second. I thought you wanted to say something there. I didn't buy it, man, because the only way to get to these guys like a Tank Davis to let his handlers know that we're not going to keep putting up with it is just to not buy it. But now Tank Davis very likely going to have a rematch and avoid the other top fights, again for at least another fight. And at this point, with the way he's avoided fighters, there's no reason to think he's going to start, fighting the other guys. And when I say the other guys, I'm talking about Teofimo Lopez, Keyshawn Davis, perhaps Loma if he's not too distracted. But I'm not talking about Shabor Stevenson. I don't even care to even see that fight. Yeah, he will do nothing but run. So in a backhanded way, this might be good for Tank Davis because it's going to give people something to talk about. It's going to keep his name. People are going to be talking about this a lot. Then they're going to have a rematch, and what can you say? His boxing, just is what it is. And for people, and lastly, when they say, well, he knocked out a bunch of nobodies. Well, listen, Gennady Golovkin, he had 18 straight title defenses, all by stoppage. And guess what? He was heavily favored to win every one of them fights. But when he got around to the three top middleweights that he fought, Canelo, Darianchenko, and Danny Jacobs, what happened? Knockouts went away. They went away. So it's all about who you fight, and if anyone who watches boxing knows that. And yeah, but Golovkin's power was real, even though the KO stopped when he got to those top three middleweights that he did wind up fighting. And Gervonta Davis didn't get Roach tonight, and he lost the fight in everyone's eyes, and mine too, but he's still a power puncher.
Well, there you go. That's Jerry's take on the night. Thank you for your call, Jerry. Call back next time, man. Take it easy out there. Yeah, there's a lot to say about the power and about, but he, like I Am Your Leader says, Jerry is a Be More guy, and he says Tank Davis lost. He's keeping it real. Let's go on our phone call here. Let's go to 805. 805, you're on the air. 805, what's on your mind? Hey, is that Amok?
He's A-Mac.
All right, Amok, what's up, man?
I think you should probably add to your title. I'm being straightforward. I didn't really see the show fight. Today was like the twilight zone for boxing.
Is that right?
You got J-Rock looking like dog shit. Heard try to get a gift decision. That split decision shouldn't have happened. They try to rob Boyle. The Ricky Martin versus Boyle fight.
Oh yeah.
And now, and now this shit show happens. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Jared Hurd and Julian Williams, two more American fighters on the way out. I don't know what they were doing on this card. It's not 2016 anymore. And I was rooting for Julian Williams, man. But goddamn, that dude couldn't handle the Cuban heat. Another Cuban coming up. So what else, Amok? What did you think of the decision?
I didn't see the fight. Which fight?
Weren't you? I thought I saw you over at Sobers'.
The Davis fight?
I thought weren't you at Sobers' Discord watching the Tank Davis fight?
No, I was there for the undercard.
So what were you watching then? You were watching another one of those Kyushu karate tournaments that nobody watches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I was watching everything except for the circus fight. You know, like I got better things to do. You know what I mean?
You were watching a Taekwondo tournament or something. A high school Taekwondo tournament on a web stream.
I would rather watch that than some cherry pick, okay? At least it wouldn't be a fucking obvious mismatch.
Well, it was a cherry pick gone wrong. Let me tell you, Amak, it was a draw. A lot of people feel, from what I'm gathering here on the phone calls, that Roach got robbed. That's the word they're going with. And I got to tell you, it seems like even if I finally found a couple on Twitter of Tank Davis fans who are saying, no, Tank should have won. He landed the hardest shots. But they're even they don't seem to believe it. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing that there was a robbery, but I just find it fascinating that the caller before me is saying that Cruz didn't get robbed, but saying Roach. I don't know. He's starting to sound like a hipster.
Nah, come on. I don't think Jerry qualifies.
No, I want to know. I want to know what rounds he gave him. Because I scored that fight 6-5-1 for Cruz. There's at best he would have gotten the draw. So I find that very fascinating that he had him winning.
Well, a lot of fascinating things tonight. Let me tell you, a lot of fascination. All right, well, listen, Amak, we got to move on, man. But anything else you want to say before we do so?
Yeah, the lynching.
Come on! I'm gonna. It's too late for your shenanigans. All right, take it easy. Thank you for coming. Oh shit! I hung up. All right, I guess I had to. It's too. I'm slowing down, guys. It's been an hour. We've been here. It's 2 a.m. I'm slowing down, but we're still gonna finish taking the phone calls. Everyone that's on hold, stay there. We're gonna get to you. Just real quick, shout out to Recognize who pointed me to the direction of an article that has the CompuBox numbers. The story of the fight: Roach outworked Davis over the 12-round distance by landing 112 shots across 12 rounds. He threw a total of 400 shots, whereas Davis landed 103 out of 279. Only 279 punches. Those are even, I think heavyweights throw more shots than that. Again, this isn't abnormal from Tank Davis. We saw him average 300 punches per fight when he goes past the 10th, and I think he only threw about 400 when he took on Isaac Cruz. So what we've been saying for years now, this is the best you're going to get from Tank Davis. He's not going to power up all of a sudden. He can't do it. But people were under the impression that he could. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 210. 210, you're on the air. 210, what's on your mind?
Hey, it's Southpaw. What's up?
Oh, what's up, Southpaw?
It was crazy, man. Like, I knew this was going to happen, bro. And it's funny because I go to the same restaurant, the bar and grill, where there's like Twin Peaks. Do y'all have that up there?
No, but the caller, a previous caller told us he went there to watch the fight.
Yeah, it's like a way better Hooters where like, they got hot girls that bring you cold beer, and they got screens everywhere. I go there every major fight, and it's crazy because like when it's a Canelo fight, it's the Canelo fanboys. When it's a Tank Davis fight, tonight it was like a whole different crowd. It was a Tank Davis fanboys. And I told him, look, this was Canelo Golovkin 1. Like, the guy lost, but they're not going to give him the loss because he's the money guy. And boxing is a business before it's a sport. And that's what people got to realize. And I called this shit. I was like, if this guy goes 12, they're going to give it to Tank no matter what. You know what I mean? So it's so pathetic, man. Like, this dude is, like, his mannerisms, like I had, like my son is 13, right? And he had 2 of his friends over for the weekend because I get him on the weekend. And it's like, these guys, you know, like, they're in that stage, they're punks, right? And Tank acts and talks just like them. He dresses just like them. Like, when I say, hey, man, what do you want to do today? Oh,
they mumble.
I'm like, bro, speak up.
Right.
What do you want to do? You know what I mean? They're like these young. They're like Tank's 30, and he's in that fucking teenage phase. He even dresses like these motherfuckers. And I even told them, like, yo, because they wanted to see him because they're young and they're influenced. They don't know any better. I'm like, all right, let's go watch this fight. But they didn't make it all the way to the night because it got too late because PBC has horrible, like, pacing. You know what I mean? So they end up just crashing out. And I'm like, yo, like, Tank is not the truth. And it's funny, we're beating a dead horse. Mm-hmm. How long have y'all had shows and we're like saying Tank is a fraud, he's not gonna fight nobody, he's this, he's that? Like, I think, like, it's crazy, but you never know because people are so crazy these days. Like, you see with the politics with Trump, Biden, whatever, like, they're gonna go with whatever they want to go with no matter what. So it's crazy, man. Tank lost tonight, and there's no way to frame it. He's never going to fight anybody. So the one thing I'm glad about tonight is that tonight was so bad that he didn't give the clickbait was like, oh, yeah, I want to fight Shakur. I want to fight all these guys that they usually do after the fight when they're happy, and then they never follow through. So that's the one good thing that I had that we don't have to listen to. That's all I got, bro.
Well, hey, by the way, hold on real quick. Tank Davis apparently has indeed skipped the press conference. Only his trainers are there now. Also, I wanted to ask you, how was it packed over at Twin Peaks, or how was the crowd there?
Dude, but honestly, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Like, when I'm watching the Canelo fight there, it's like a lot of Mexicans, right? But when I went in there, it's a lot of dudes with cornrows, black people with cornrows, tattoos. The tables next to me were like, yeah, Tank. And, dude, you know me, bro. I could kind of be the heel. So I was like, this is why he's ducking Shakur. That motherfucker's a duck. That motherfucker's a duck. And it was funny because they were getting all worked up, bro. But it was so bad that even people at their own table were like, yeah, he lost that fight, bro. Nigga, what? And so the people that were being the loudest, even the people that were being the loudest, their own people at their own table were like, yeah, man, like, he didn't win that fight, bro.
Whoa.
And, like, so, like, they couldn't even argue with me. They couldn't even argue with me because even their own people that they went with were like, nah, bro, like, that was bad, bro. And because when you saw Roach and he had that look in his face, like, I told people, like, he worked his ass off, blood, sweat, and tears, and they got stolen from him. It got taken from him. Like, everybody felt his pain in a way. Like, wow, bro, this guy's hurting, and it's like it's because of politics. That's all it is. Politics, bro.
It seems so. It seems that way. All right. Well, listen, Lefty, Southpaw, thank you for the update. Thank you for the ground on the ground report, and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right, man.
All right. That was Southpaw Lefty right there with he went to a bar, Twin Peaks, and he said that even the Tank fans couldn't defend that decision. By the way, well, actually, we got to I guess I'll save some of the stuff that I want to read here for the next time, but we still get a lot of phone calls, so let's get through them, fellas. Let's go to 347. 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
Yo, BDA, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's up?
Hey, man, listen up. Look, all right. I gotta talk about Tank's resume, and I think I understand why Lamont gave him hell. Can I give you a breakdown?
Absolutely, please.
Okay, so listen up. Mario Barrios rehydration clause, right? And then Tank defeats him to the body. Ryan Garcia rehydration clause with a catch weight, and he defeats him to the body, right? Then we have Rolly Romero started boxing 17. We don't even got to talk about Rolly Romero. Frank Martin, Ghost, started boxing late 17 or 16 or something. Hector Garcia comes up to 130. Isaac Cruz, late replacement, goes life and death with him. Camboa coming up from 126. Leo Santa Cruz coming up from 126. Right? Just putting everything into perspective. Like, how were we rating Tank Davis as this great fighter, or like, how good is he? How would you measure him, and how good is Lamont Roach? Like, how would he compete with the other lightweights, Keyshawn Davis, or even a Shakur Stevenson. What's your take on that?
Well, apparently, by the way, Lamont Roach just said in the press conference today that if he can't get a Tank Davis rematch, he wants a Shakur Stevenson fight. Lamont Roach, though, the problem for him is that he's a little bit too short for the division, and Tank Davis at least has power, whereas Lamont Roach, even though I think he showed that he does have better than average power, even at lightweight, I would have a hard time seeing him beating Shakur Stevenson, although you never know. I don't think Shakur Stevenson is all that either, although at this point I would pick him over Tank Davis. But yeah, Roach should go back down to 130 because I think that's a better division for him.
Yeah, and that's my next follow-up is, then how good is Shakur Stevenson? Because when he went up against Edwin De Los Santos, and he felt some of that power, he ran, right?
Right.
Right? Didn't he just run the whole fight? So now, like, my question is, like, what's the chin for Shakur Stevenson? Like, I'm just questioning a lot of these like lightweights, like Shakur Stevenson in particular, and Gervonta Tank Davis. Like, I'm okay with Keyshawn because he gets in there and he's willing to exchange and get the guy out of there that's not on his level. But these two lightweights in particular, like Shakur and Gervonta, I don't know, man. To me, I feel like both of them, they don't have that chin. Right? They don't get that. They're not willing to They're not willing to really get into the exchange. At least from what I've seen. And maybe Gervonta was more comfortable to get an exchange with Lamont because he's a 130-pounder, so he feels he can absorb the punches.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I gotta see Gervonta with an actual fighter. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, you mean Shakur Stevenson?
Both.
Both. I'll say this,
I'm speaking
Colin.
on both.
I'll say this: Tank Davis should have known that he was falling behind, or at worst that the fight was too close to call. And what did he do? He only threw 279 punches according to punch stats. Those numbers are outrageous. They're abnormally low for a guy in the lightweight division, and it just shows you that he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it, but he's been sheltered and coddled over the PBC, like you said. Rehydration clauses. He's been manufactured, in other words. And yes, almost every fighter out there is manufactured if he's with a big-time promoter, but some more than others. And Tank Davis was coddled more than all these other guys, and it's starting to show now. It was bound to show at one point. Anything else you want to say, caller, before we move on?
Just last thing. Okay, now looking ahead, right? Looking ahead at Tank's career trajectory, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the next move? A rematch with Lamont? Like, what's his next move? What do you think?
You know what? If I'm the PBC handlers, I do what they did with Earl Spence against Crawford, and I just cash him out, throw him in there against Shakur Stevenson already. What's the point? What's the point of holding another fight? Yeah, okay, they're gonna do okay at the gate, and then what? They're gonna do horrible numbers on pay-per-view, and they're just gonna alienate the few fans that they have left more and more. At this point, they should just cash him out and put him in there against Shakur Stevenson and hope that maybe he catches Stevenson with something and he takes his ass out. That's what I think they should do. All right, well, listen, caller, we got to move on here, man.
Okay, thank you for your time, BDA.
Well, thank you for the questions, man, and
right,
good points.
later.
All right, later. Have a good night. Yeah, they have to. They need to make it. I mean, it's enough coddling already. They milked Tank Davis for as much as they could. Now, if they want to make him into a star, the only way they can do that, like I'm talking mainstream stories, you got to put him in there against somebody that people want to see him fight. Enough of these fights where on paper they're not that good. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 404. 404, you're on the air. 404. What's on your mind?
404. What's up, BDA? This is Coach Eddie. What's going on?
Oh, Coach Eddie, it's been a while, man. What's up?
Man, nothing much, man. I seen a pretty good robbery tonight. This probably equals. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I just said, whoa.
Yeah. I think Lamont Roach won the fight. I think it was Lennox Lewis Holyfield won that type of fight. Lamont Roach clearly won the fight, in my opinion, man. I think he outclassed Tank. If you ask me, to be honest, he stood right in front of him. He made him miss. Came back with sharp counters. He hurt Tank several occasions in that fight. He buckled Tank. Tank was backing up. He had Tank on the back foot a lot of the fight. Tank, sometimes to me, looked like he was a little, I'm not going to say scared, but I'm going to say leery of Lamont Roach's punching power. I think those punches were hurting Tank because he fought like somebody who he had respect. He respected Lamont's power. Because, one thing about Tank, if you can't punch, he'll walk through you. So I think Lamont got his respect with a couple of those shots. The round where Tank took a knee, go back and watch it. Lamont Roach landed a clean right hand on the chin. It was a delayed reaction. That's why he took a knee. People, it wasn't no hair grease. Go back and watch the thing. Maybe 2 seconds before he took the knee, Lamont hit him right on the button with a straight right hand. In 8-ounce gloves, he hurt.
Absolutely.
That was a delayed reaction. Tank was hurt. And people talking about, the cleanup sport of boxing, all the Tank fans always talking about, robberies, we got to clean up boxing, worry about Tank going to Saudi Arabia. Everybody clearly seen tonight that this man got robbed. Look, this should be Lamont. That's what I hate about boxing. This should be Lamont Roach's night. If the fighter loses, let him lose. Tyson lost, Holyfield lost, Lennox lost, Ali lost, Pacquiao lost. All of them lose. If you lose a fight, you lost. The guy who won the fight, we should be talking about Lamont Roach being the champion right now, being the first guy to defeat Tank Davis. Now that he got robbed, with everybody clearly seen this man got robbed tonight. Can't explain it away. Beyond the BDA, Tank got beat up tonight.
Whoa.
He got beat up. He got bullied. He got manhandled. Lamont was the bigger fighter. He was the more confident fighter. He was a sharper fighter. He outboxed Tank. He boxed Tank's ears off.
So do you think it's worth it if they go for a rematch, or you think Lamont Roach just won't be able to get a fair shake no matter how it goes?
If they... First thing I'm doing with Lamont Roach, I'm protesting this decision right off the rip. That's what I would do. I don't know if that would behoove him, but if they do give me a rematch, you gonna have to line my pockets up nice because you robbed me. Now, does Lamont Roach go ahead and take the Shakur fight and beat him? Because Lamont Roach, and this is what I'm hating right here, BDA. I'm hating how people are saying, what do you think Shakur would have did? What do you think Devin would have did? No, Lamont Roach did it. Those guys don't get credit for what Lamont Roach did. Lamont Roach dropped his nuts. Lamont Roach is the guy who stood in front of this guy, took those punches, and came right back with something. Shakur don't fight like that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, you're right.
So stop saying what you think Shakur would have done. I'm tired of people here. I don't want to hear that trash. The night belonged to Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach went in there and he beat Tank up. He whooped him. He outclassed him. He beat him in all facets of boxing. He outslicked him. He stood right in front of this guy, made Tank miss, and came back with sharp counters. He hit Tank to the body. He hurt Tank. He out-jabbed Tank. He outlanded Tank. He outworked Tank. How the heck did he lose? Put it like this. If Tank would have put that performance on against Lamont Roach, they would have been like a 120, 108, 119, 109.
That's true, huh? That's absolutely, you're right. You're absolutely correct there. All right, well, listen, Coach 80, it was good to hear from you again, and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there. Have a good night. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say, if Shakur, imagine what Shakur Stevenson would have done, because I don't know, maybe Shakur Stevenson doesn't have Lamont Roach's mentality to, like Coach 80 said, to stay in the pocket and stay tight and all that. I do think Shakur Stevenson has superior abilities to Roach, but I can't say I would give Shakur Stevenson points for something he didn't do, because that's what the Tank Davis fans were doing when Ryan Garcia beat Haney. So we can't do that. Although I will say I would pick Shakur Stevenson more than ever now to beat Tank Davis, but the X factor is I don't know if he has the mentality to recreate what Lamont Roach did. He has the skills, he has the talent. I don't know about the mentality. That's why I want to see it happen. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 642. 642, you're in the air. 642, what's on your mind?
I'm doing good, BDA. This is 54 Talk calling from New Zealand. How are you?
Oh, so what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I haven't watched the entire fight because I've been in and out of doing jobs today, but I caught enough glimpses of the fight of Shakur missing with the left hand and clinching, and Lamont tagging him throughout the fight, and what the commentators were saying, trying to basically camouflage the fact that we were witnessing exposure of Tank Davis. I know. I've seen enough to know what happened, and I just. I'm trying to add something that the other callers haven't given you, and I'll say this: the last week I've been on a lot of panels, and great guys, great girls. We get on really well, but I've had to be, in my opinion, kind of defend my position as to why Tank Davis gets criticised, why he is a cherry picker, and why what the man was saying earlier on your show: rehydration clauses, catch weight, bringing a small guy up, bringing a big guy down, all of this stuff. And this I feel Tank Davis in victory, quote unquote, has made me look like a bit of a numpty because first of all he won, and I was actually questioning before the fight whether the Ryan Garcia fight would have happened the way it did if there was no rehydration clause. I was thinking, because if Garcia wouldn't have been that weak to the body if he was able to hydrate properly, I didn't know. I was thinking before this fight, well, Lamont Roach doesn't have the greatest defense, but I thought if he feels healthy and if he feels hydrated enough, maybe he doesn't need to be rehydrated. Maybe he doesn't need great defense if he just has his elbows down low enough to defend against that left hand. And Tank couldn't even land a left hand upstairs all night. It was pitiful, to be honest with you. And it's I just feel like playing Paulie Malignaggi after the first Juan Diaz fight for this one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Listen, caller, man, we've got a couple of issues with your phone. It's a little bit too hot. It's coming in too overmodulated, but excellent points there. Glad you're still up there actually in New Zealand.
Sorry, can you hear me okay now? Or
well, it's clicking. It's clipping.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, man. Okay. Talk later, BDA. Thanks for having me on. All the best.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, man. Yeah, he's been on the open lines before, but it's just the receiver was too hot there. But shout out to him. Shout out to him from New Zealand. Shout out to him. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 612. 612, you're in the air. 612, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, 612?
Yo. Yeah, I heard you a little while ago. You were talking about the stats. I noticed you didn't mention that Tank landed more power shots. Is there a reason why you didn't mention that?
Because he didn't say that in the article.
You know, he landed more power shots. That plays a huge role in the decision. You know this, right?
Depends.
Maybe that's why Tank got the draw instead of the win, or the other guy didn't win. I thought it was a draw. However, if they were to say Roach won, I wouldn't be mad. But I can see why they said it was a draw, because Roach boxed well. He boxed very good. But Tank did hit him with some really good shots. Roach was hitting him with counter shots, but he wasn't really hitting him with like big shots, but Tank was. That plays a huge role in the decision making when they do the scorecards. I need everybody to know that or understand that.
Who do you think landed
that's most likely why they called it a draw.
Who do you think landed the cleaner shots? The head snapping shot. The head snapping shots.
From what I saw when I watched it, they were kind of out landing each other, if that makes sense. Like he would hit him, and then Roach would hit him. Roach did a really good job counterpunching him. That's a fact. But I thought Tank hit him with some really good shots, and then Roach hit him with some really good shots. It was kind of even when it came to who landed the cleaner shots. But Tank landed more power shots. Those are important. Those score big. The judges are looking at that. That's most likely why they called it a draw. I feel like people that thought he got robbed are not taking that into consideration. They're not taking that into consideration.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
And also, I understand the rehydration thing. Do people really think Ryan had a chance to beat Tank for real?
Well, I mean, he did okay.
I don't believe that. I don't believe people really think that.
Why not?
Like, if they fought in a regular, y'all really think Ryan has the skill? He's skilled enough to beat Tank?
Well,
I know y'all don't believe that.
I'm asking you, because it is a calling show. You're supposed to tell us your opinion.
this is anybody who thinks Ryan is skilled enough to beat Tank is trolling. I don't care how much you dislike Tank. If you think Ryan Garcia has the skill set to beat Tank, then yeah, this is obviously trolling. I understand y'all don't like people. The callers don't like Tank. Okay, I understand that you don't like Tank. You feel that he doesn't fight strong opposition. Okay, that's cool. But you can't. They can't be serious about the Ryan thing. I heard that, and I wanted to respond to that. Like, rehydration or not, he's not beating no Tank.
Well, we'll never know. I mean, listen. You have your opinion. Other people have their opinions, but we'll never know. Because he's stuck him with the rehydration clause. So Tank Davis sort of shot himself in the foot by doing that because now it's an X. It's an X factor. It's an asterisk. We'll never know what would have happened. Real quick, before we move on, what do you think about Tank Davis throwing 279 shots, which is well below average for a lightweight? Do you think he's going to come out with an excuse the way he did after the Isa Cruz fight, or do you think that's the best he can do?
I think in this fight, it was the best he can do. The Roach guy was game. I understand they have an amateur background, so they know each other very well. Who knows? That could have been why. He knows everything he's going to do before he does it. That could be why this happened. Maybe Tank was like, oh, this guy knows me too well. Possibly. So I don't know about all that making an excuse. I don't think nobody makes excuses. People just say things you don't want to hear, but I don't know about excuses. I think he knows Tank. He fought him before. He has history with him. So nothing Tank could do can faze him. People are not taking that into consideration.
Well, I hope he doesn't fight any other people he fought in the amateurs, because if that's all it takes to give him this type of fight, then he should be in trouble. All right, well, listen, caller, we're going to move on here, but thank you for your call, and call back next time. Take it easy out there.
All right, yep.
All right, let's go to a phone call here. We're almost at the end of the hour here, so shout out to everybody who's called in. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Ski you.
What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Wait, is this Sobers?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. It sounded like Sobers.
That was the guy who thought that Canelo lost the Golovkin fight, even though he threw more power shots. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great excuse. I love that. Anyway, guy got wiped. He was horsing around, showboating, and I think somebody put it really perfect on one of the group chats we're having, that he was fucking around until he thought it was time to take this guy out and putting on a show. It looked staged. Then Tank decided, okay, I'm going to knock this guy out, and realized, oh, I can't knock this guy out. I can't do it. Tank, I thought, got hurt, got wobbled, got hurt several times to the body, took some good shots to the head, and then I don't know about you, but there was a lot of low blows from Tank. Tank Davis got away with a lot of shit. I've never seen somebody take a knee and go to the corner, and it was very strange. It almost seemed like they did a what's that guy's name? Fucking Panama Lewis. It's almost like they did a Panama Lewis in the corner or something. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. But the guy came back out trying to fight, and he was trying his best to knock this guy out, and it just was not working. Guy is embarrassed. It's an embarrassment when you can't take out a scrub, and somebody was trying to defend Lamont Roach because I guess he's a fan of Crawford. This guy's Crawford's buddy or something. I don't know. It's just all tangled up. I mean, people are making excuses now. I'm seeing shit on comment section talking about how Lamont Roach is this like underrated fighter, and he's just like this. It's Tank Davis, everyone. Relax. This guy's made a career. He's made an entire career of stay busy fights. He's made an entire career of the tune-up fight. His entire career has been one big fucking tune-up fight. That's it. That's all the guy's ever been. He's only fought one legitimate champion. That was, 8 years ago against Pedraza? That's it. That was it. And then I think somebody mentioned that he did the same thing in that fight. I got to see it again.
but I think it was God, who was it? We were talking on the chat. Somebody mentioned that Tank did something similar in that fight, and I'd have to watch the fight. I haven't watched the fight in a long time. But this guy's whole career has been one big stay busy fight, man. I don't know what people are like. It was bound to happen sooner or later, I guess. I just thought it would have been with someone, like an actual contender, somebody better, somebody at A level. Because Tank, at the end of the day, is a C plus B minus fighter. That's it.
Well,
how do you get away with your career throwing 200 and something punches?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. 270. No, what was it? Hold on. I got the numbers right here. By the way, Tank Davis finally made it to the press conference. I guess they were checking him out or something. Maybe something with his hands. Maybe a problem with his hands. Maybe that they were looking for an excuse. 279 punches thrown. But that's the thing, though, Maridasos, is look. No, I'm not calling Lamont Roach a bum, but people on Twitter were saying, yeah, he's not a bum, but he's too small, and Davis is gonna knock him out. Well, he couldn't knock him out, and so what was Plan B? Outbox him, outwork him? He couldn't even do that.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't do it. He was trying to make a spectacle of it, and he kept making faces when he knew he was in trouble, and he couldn't knock this guy out, and this guy's landing on him, walking through his shots, cutting ankles, hitting him with shots he didn't see coming. Tank Davis resorted to making faces and making a mockery out of it because he was nervous. It was nervous energy. He knew he couldn't do it. He knew he was in trouble, and then he started throwing haymakers, and he was getting caught. I mean, what boxing IQ do you have to have? It was pathetic. And, I just want to note that this is the guy that was getting outboxed by Rolly fucking Romero. And I have not forgotten that. That was incredible. But the other thing is his own crowd was booing him.
That's right.
His own crowd was booing him. I think people really had enough of this shit already.
It's interesting.
I didn't buy the fight, of course.
Come on. But you know what? It's interesting about that is...
no, fuck that. I didn't buy the fight.
Hold on. First of all, the language. But second of all, whenever we would bring that up to people, like, hey, he lost rounds to Rolly Romero. He was losing against, rounds against Barrios. That fight was even despite the knockdowns. Ryan Garcia was giving it to him. He's a Cruz. Oh, no, but he won those fights at the end of the day. He's undefeated. That was a counter argument. And you're thinking, yeah, but if he's struggling against these guys, and especially when he's struggling with dehydrated guys, how do you think he's going to do against the upper echelon? And here he fought a guy coming up in weight, and he could not work the guy, could not box him. He's lucky to get the draw. Even if he thought he was close, he shouldn't have been struggling with that guy.
And the ref helped him. The ref helped him too. Like, there was no knockdown counted, and there were no points taken away for the excessive low blows. It wasn't just one low blow here and there. There was a lot of low blows. I was watching that shit, and I'm like, this is a lot of low blows. He got a lot of help, and he fought a featherweight. So, I mean, people were fucking crazy. No wonder there's this talk about, from his team or from his fans, that he should fight Inoue. Of course, they know it. His fans, deep down inside, his fans know this dude's
they have
fucking a fraud.
They have to.
They
and
have
if they
to
don't
know it, dude.
If they
How
don't
do you
after
fucking
tonight,
not know that.
And if they don't after tonight, then there's no helping them. And maybe they don't want to be helped. That's the worst part about it.
How do you validate a statement like Inoue needs to come to America to fight, to prove himself, to fight Tank?
Mm-hmm. No, it
makes bantamweight has to come over to America to prove himself. What the fuck is wrong with you guys, man? You guys are
insane.
Fucking delusional.
Maniacal. It's lunacy is what I'm saying. But well, listen, Don Maridasos, we got to move on here, man. It's late at night, but I got to get to another phone call here. But thank you for your calling. Call back next time, right, man?
Have a good one, man. See you.
You too, man. Take it easy. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 470. 470, you on the air. 470, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? So Never Sobers.
What's up, Sobers? You sound full of energy.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Oh, no, yeah. No, I'm good. I'm just smoking right now. We're smoking on that tank pack, so I'm real mellowed out.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? I was real animated and energetic earlier, but I heard Don Madrasos calling in and saying that, I was on one of these other chats, and it was me, motherfucker. I'm the one who said that shit. Give me my credit. You were at Casa de Sobers, okay?
You got a source. You got to credit the source, right?
Yeah, exactly. Don't say and don't worry about if fucking Jedi from Twitter said it, okay? And you know that I said it. But
All right.
no, but I had said something to the effect that we were watching the fight and the whole time, dude, I was expecting because from the first round on, I seen that Gervonta Davis was giving this energy that it's a friendly thing. We're sparring. We're all here to make some money. In the press conference, the coaches were talking like they knew each other intimately, or like, oh, I had to pull Tank into the office a couple times and tell him to straighten up. You know what I mean? They knew these dudes since they were little kids, and I thought that Gervonta Davis was whooping this dude's ass since they were little kids. And then you saw him get all buddy, at the face-offs, whispering sweet nothings in each other's ear. So everything about this looked like a fix, right? Even the first 7 rounds looked like a fix. Gervonta Davis wasn't really throwing nothing. I think he was credited with landing 1 punch in the first round. He wasn't throwing nothing because he was scared to hurt this dude, right? And it looked like when he wanted to counter and turn it up, he could. He did it a couple times throughout the fight. And then, around the 8th round, Gervonta Davis, this guy Lamont Roach started landing some harder shots, and Gervonta Davis said, okay, you know what? I gotta change something up now. After that, when he took that knee, right? And honestly, dude, I expected a lot more from Steve Willis. He really showed that he's not better than anybody else. All you referees are all the fucking same. Y'all suck. Because I really had a high opinion of Steve Willis. I thought he was a dude that would be like no nonsense, that he'll take control in the ring, and he was letting Gervonta Davis basically bully him, right? When he took that knee, it doesn't matter what you had in your hair. It doesn't matter if it was baby oil, if it was fucking that Diddy oil.
Oh,
you take a knee, that's a fucking knockdown. And the referee's supposed to start counting. The commentators, they started saying, that's a knee. He needs to start counting. He needs to count. And Steve Willis even put his fingers out. Like, he's like, dude. And then he's right there going back and forth with Davis. And he goes, well, look, man, it looked like a knockdown, so you can't do that. And no history of any fight have we ever seen that shit where the fighter voluntarily goes down and then he tells the referee, it's not what you think. You know what I'm saying? That was bullshit. And then
sounds like he got caught cheating or something. Like
and
a
then
guy
with
got
the-
killed, yeah.
Yeah. No, the only time we saw a fighter get away with something like that is with Crawford and his amazing exploding gloves. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But so later on in the fight, Gervonta Davis started throwing an excessive amount of low blows to the point where Steve Willis had to acknowledge them. And then Gervonta Davis is yelling at him, saying, it's not a low blow, it's not a low blow. And again, Steve Willis is just like, oh, okay, man, all right, but it looked like a low blow. When this dude was throwing, everything, bro, to try to stop this guy, Lamont Roach. And I remember, was it the 9th round, where Gervonta Davis, where I saw the moment, bro, where he fucking bug broke him, dude, where he threw a big left hook and he landed on Roach, and then Roach kind of just rolled it and stared him down. And I saw the look in Gervonta Davis's eyes. He said, "Oh shit, I can't hurt him." And he started cowering back, like he started going on the back foot.
Wait
and then
a
after
minute.
that, he got his ass whooped.
Wait
So
a minute.
what-
Are you
so
taking a
what-
page
what
out of
else-
the
what's
Are you
up?
taking a page out of the Josh book and saying that there was some sexual submission going on? Is that what you're saying?
There was sexual submission in that ring, dude.
Oh.
You could see it in his eyes when the pupils dilated.
He knew it was
You
happening.
could see when the
Is what
pupils
you're saying.
dilated, and you knew he was really to submit.
You're mine
Yeah.
now, so I'll let you go. You are mine. You are my meat. You're my possession.
Interesting. Very interesting there, Sowers. Very interesting take. I guess we're gonna have to. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so this honestly, so like I expected more from Steve Willis, and I thought everything was a joke in that fight, just like Gervonta Davis did until the 8th round, and then he really tried to win, and then he really tried to fight, and then Lamont Roach whooped his ass for 4 or 5 rounds, and that's what happened, and he got lucky with that draw. You know, I'm surprised they gave him a draw. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. We all saw what happened. The jig is up. The show's over.
Nah, come on. Why'd you have to use the
Smoke
word
another
jig?
tank pack. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. But hey, but by the way, what was the reaction? I saw it was a jam-packed house over at Casa de Sobers. What was the reaction of people as the fight progressed?
Well, okay, I'm telling you. So it was the same thing that I was saying, bro. We all thought it was a joke. We was like, these guys are sparring. This is obviously a fix. These dudes aren't trying to hurt each other. Up until, we saw Gervonta Davis, try to take that switch. They try to say he got that kill switch. He just turns on and he becomes Gervonta. He becomes a tank. He tried to hit the switch. And, the wheels, they didn't get running. The wheels weren't running. The barrel was clogged. He couldn't fire those shots off. And then after that, everyone was like, "Oh, he's whooping his ass." What we all saw, bro. We all saw. It all looked like a joke. It was funny until it wasn't. It was, it was a joke until it wasn't. And everyone experienced the same thing in real time, including Gervonta Davis.
Well, there you go, man. Quite an eventful night, that's for sure. Unexpected, but that's what we love about boxing. Just when you least expect it is when you get the best surprises. All right, Sobers, we'll talk more later. We'll try to do a show today in a couple of hours from now. So get yourself to beauty sleep, and we'll talk later. All right, man?
All right, y'all.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, all right, so that does it there for the calls. We've been on for close to 2 hours. I got to tell you, Tank Davis, though, they're doing the press conference, and I'm reading the chat for that YouTube stream. All I'm seeing is it's moving fast. Excuses. He knows he lost. He's a clown. TikTok fighter. Wow, people are grilling him.
As the face of boxing and as somebody who calls the shots, do you want that rematch next? And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year?
I'm not sure, bro. I'm definitely not sure, but hopefully
he sounds very. There's a lot confused and lack of confidence from Tank Davis.
Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next. But
Wait, who's next? Hold on.
It probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want?
I'm not sure, bro.
He's not sure.
I'm definitely not sure, but hopefully we could get it before. It probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want?
All right, so I mean, he's saying he's not going to get a fight this year. That's the other problem. Being with the PBC, they're losing. I got to tell you, putting on an event of this magnitude is not cheap. They got to pay for the truck, the production, the setting up the ring, the lights, everything. This is coming out of pocket. They don't have Showtime anymore subsidizing them. So the next time Tank Davis fights, when's it going to be? This guy only fights once a year because, again, they like the infrastructure to give him a platform. Even though he does well at the gate, I suspect it's not enough to offset the cost of everything that's going on. So look at that. People are clapping.
Gervonta Tank Davis, the champ.
The champ. I got to tell you, it's nothing that happened today was quite unsurprising. The one thing that surprised me was, in fact, because I do, Tank Davis, say what you want about the guy. He's a power puncher, like Jerry was saying. But I was surprised that he never got that punch across, that big punch. Again, very Deontay Wilderish, his career so far. I want to illustrate something before we go. And again, we're going to try to do another show in a couple of hours. So perhaps in afternoon, maybe even afterwards. I don't know. Stay tuned. Subscribe if you yet to subscribe already, right, fellas? So stay tuned for the notifications. But real quick, check this out. We're going to talk more about this in a couple of hours. When he fought Barrios, whom he dehydrated as well, just for your information, it went to the 11th round. And as you can see there in the bottom portion of your screen, Davis did 296 shots. 296 shots. That's way below, I believe, the average for a lightweight. I mean, heavyweights throw more shots than that across 12 rounds. This guy does not have the stamina or the wherewithal to get it done. We saw a lot of complaining. He kept complaining to the referee, looking at the referee, got caught in the process doing so. It seems like he wanted out in a way or was trying to stall. I was surprised that there were no lead right hooks from Tank Davis in this fight. Complaining a lot, like I said, going at it with his own corner. And again, this is just, I mean, again, I'm reticent to say I told you so because I hate doing that. So I'm not going to say I told you so. But what I will say is we backed everything we set up about Tank Davis with proof of how he fights. And people were calling us haters. You don't know what you're talking about. There was this mythos that Tank Davis, if he really wanted to, he would turn it up at some point because he fights the way he fights because he wants to, because he doesn't have to go all out. Well, this is the second fight in a row. I mean, not in a row, but this is the second fight in his career. This and the Isaac Cruz fight where he had to step it up and he couldn't do it. And against Isaac Cruz, the excuse was he broke his hand, which, by the way, there's no proof that he broke the hand. Now, what's it going to be this time? Did he pull his taint, pull the groin muscle? I don't know. Yeah, people are saying. Terence Crawford said that when a guy when a guy's hand touches the canvas for whatever reason, it's a knockdown. And then somebody says, "What about when you fought Mean Machine?" And he goes, "I won by TKO." Yeah, he's not addressing the fact that he got dropped. Too. Shout out to Double L for putting that in the Discord. All right, well, listen, fellas, that's it for today, man. I gotta go. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed the show, the call-in show. Yeah, quite surprising everything that happened. Shout out to everybody that called in. Everybody that donated via the super chat. I mean, not the super chat feature, but the Buy Me a Coffee app. Really exciting stuff. I'm glad you guys were able to donate via that platform. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Again, like I said, we're going to try to return in a couple of hours. Let me just get a couple of hours of shut-eye, and we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, maybe Bucha hosts it. I don't know. Maybe we should do it. You guys let us know. Do you want an open lines? Do you want a regular show? Like I said, a lot of things happening here in boxing, and we didn't even touch on the undercard, so we're gonna have to talk about that as well tomorrow, and what's next in the horizon. Very interesting things going on, let me tell you, very interesting. But so shout out to everybody who called in, everybody that donated via the Buy Me a Coffee app, really appreciate it. Hey, by the way, before we go, Paulie Malignaggi, just to give you the rundown on everything that's been going on, Paulie Malignaggi said that you can't be the face of boxing and put on a performance like that. Dan Rayfield is complaining to the New York State Athletic Commission about the knockdown. Ishii Smith is saying Steve Willis should never be allowed to referee another fight. He also says that, honestly, I've seen that man, talking about Tank Davis, stop many people in the gym. His power is legit, but he lacks confidence, he says. Cares too much about weight and makes excuses and shits on others. I always thought he was too great to have such concerns. Tonight it showed why he wants no parts of the top. I mean, all the proof was there, man. All the evidence, the rehydration clauses, the outside the ring antics, complaining to the referees, just getting into it with his own promoter, Mayweather. Leonard Ellerby, nowhere to be seen today. Again, more trouble in paradise. Avoiding Lomachenko for all these years. Well, I mean, you put all that together, you still couldn't see what was right in front of you. Again, we try to tell people, they don't listen, and then this is what we've got. All right. So, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Sam Rando, Stuart T. D-Boss, DJ Big Leg, Jump to Bernard, Alejandro Solis, Parocua, Baron Evola. Like I said, everybody that called in, Nes Mendoza, shout out to Mr. Nes Mendoza, Jump Tube, Skull Kid 25, MKVI, Harry Reese, A6, I Am Your Leader. By the way, I was laughing, I Am Your Leader, because today Errol Spence admitted that the drinking did him in. And I always remember I Am Your Leader's quote about how Crawford essentially beat the town drunk. I don't know why that makes me laugh. The town, just reducing the guy to the town drunk. Shout out to Official Scorecard Boxing, aka Steph K, who says, "Imagine paying $80 for this circus." Well, I guess I'm the joke, man. Shout out to Official Scorecard Boxing, Noah E, HJ92, Mark, Lil Mac, Tyson Punch Out, everybody in there in the chat. Shout out to all